Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Improving the attack even further is the Warriors' objective, so that they can leave their rivals in panic when they face the Warriors. Even though the season is getting off to a good start, new signings are not ruled out. Strong rumors: Warriors signing striker who is a standout from the Indiana Pacers. With Stephen Curry playing like an MVP candidate in perhaps his last real shot at contention, the Warriors' plans between now and the February trade deadline will be closely monitored across the league. Scouts and executives have pointed to Golden State as the team most likely to make a splash before the February 6 trade deadline. Warriors have a combination of young players and draft picks to make deals, while most other teams expected to be in that mix have one or none at their disposal after the many big deals made over the last few seasons. The NBA's Western Conference is more competitive than ever, and teams will need to make a move if they want to stay one step ahead of the competition. So far this season, there are no major players on the trading block, but as the deadline approaches, trade activity will undoubtedly increase across the league. As arguably the NBA's most surprising season this season, the Warriors are in a good position right now, and they want to maximize that momentum by adding to the roster and making their season deeper than ever at every position. After replacing Klay Thompson with Buddy Hield, their offense has been revitalized, but they can still improve with upgrades in the front court. The Golden State Warriors are comfortably the second-best team in the Western Conference, behind only the Oklahoma City Thunder, who they beat earlier this season. They are playing vintage Warriors basketball, and are fourth in three-point percentage, third in attempts, third in points per game, and third in offensive rating. The Warriors also have a top-5 defense, but they have fully embraced scoring this season. A recently proposed mock trade would give them even more firepower. The Sporting News' Colin Keane recently proposed a deal that would send Jonathan Kuminga and an unprotected first-round pick to the Indiana Pacers for Benedict Mathurin. Swapping out Kuminga, who is averaging 14.7 points on 48.4% shooting from the floor and 35.1% for deep for the slightly younger Mathurin, who is posting 19.7 points on much better shooting, as an easy deal for the Warriors to make. If the Pacers were to accept such a trade, Golden State would send Kuminga away in an instant. Why would the Pacers give up their best young player for Kuminga? It's simple economics. Unless the Pacers feel that they are contenders right now, they are not. It would behoove them to keep building for a time when the Boston Celtics look more vulnerable, perhaps 3 years from now as Tyrese Haliburton enters his prime, wrote Keane. While the 22-year-old Mathurin could very well factor into that future for Indiana, he'll be owed a huge payday in the summer of 2026. With Haliburton getting max money until 2029, the Pacers might be wise not to dole out a huge sum to another guard during that span, for the sake of roster balance. Related: how can Pacers recover versus Heat? Indiana has Andrew Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith already under contract, who could step up in the absence of Mathurin. The Pacers, having lost Isaiah Jackson and James Wiseman for the season, could use some size, and Kuminga's rebounding could help them out where they desperately need it. Doctor explains Melton's ACL injury, possible Warriors return timeline. Stanford Medicine's Dr. Jeffrey Abrams, MD, shares his perspective on Golden State Warriors guard DeAnthony Melton's left ACL sprain suffered against the Dallas Mavericks on Tuesday night at Chase Center. DeAnthony Melton will miss Friday night's Warriors vs. Memphis Grizzlies game with a left MCL sprain, and his status after that remains unknown. The 26-year-old Warriors guard will undergo further testing, the team announced Thursday, to help determine the severity of the injury he sustained in the second quarter of Golden State's win over the Dallas Mavericks on Tuesday night. While Dub Nation anxiously awaits the determining details, Stanford Medicine's Dr. Jeffrey Abrams, MD, spoke to NBC Sports Bay Area and broke down some of the possible outcomes of the injury and a potential timeline for recovery. ACL sprains can come in a lot of variety, Dr. Abrams said. Obviously, not having seen the MRI or been part of his care, it could be anything from a mild sprain with just a little inflammation around the ligament, which is one of the main ligaments around the knee. For very minor sprains of the ligament, where there's no major structural issues, that can be really just a few weeks or so. For higher grade tears where there is concern that there was structural integrity, that really goes down a different road and can be many weeks to the possibility of even surgery if there's significant structural issues with that ligament. Melton, in his first season with the Warriors, is averaging 10.3 points on 40.7% shooting from the field and 37.1% from three-point range, with 3.3 rebounds and 2.8 assists in 6 games. He was inserted into Coach Steve Kerr's starting lineup over the last 2 games in the shooting guard spot, filling in nicely alongside Steph Curry, averaging 16.5 points on 47.8% shooting from the field and 50% from downtown, with 7 rebounds, 3 assists and 2 steals in 26.6 minutes. Dr. Abrams further explained the rehab timeline options that are dependent on the severity of Melton's injury. The ACL, which is the ligament we're talking about, is really important for cutting and pivoting activity, so if you are performing that like you are in basketball all the time, that ligament is one of the main supports of the knee when you're doing that, he said. So if the ligament is injured, it can lead to instability of the knee, such as you feel your knee shifting underneath you a little bit if that ligament is compromised. Now, in minor sprains of the ACL, there should not be any significant structural compromise of the knee, so I'd be surprised if it's just a minor sprain that he would be feeling that. But there's a whole rehabilitation timeline to go through in terms of getting the muscles around the knee strong and getting that ligament healed. Warriors' historic bench scoring could pay huge dividends in quest for title. In an early campaign where superstar point guard Stephen Curry has dealt with injuries and former All-Star Andrew Wiggins has worked through inconsistent spells, the Warriors bench has punched teams in the mouth with their offensive firepower. Warriors bench holds NBA record for highest scoring average in history. Andy Lindquist of NBC Sports Bay Area shared a revelatory stat from StatMuse that exemplifies just how potent Golden State's backups have been on the year. Golden State's formidable depth has it on pace to break the record for the most points per game by a team off the bench in league history, Lindquist wrote. At 58.0 ppg, the team currently is averaging 4.8 ppg more than the 2018 to 2019 Los Angeles Clippers, who hold the current record. Warriors can dethrone 2018 to 19 Clippers for NBA record. The Clippers team that the Warriors currently have a leg up on was led by that season's 6th Man of the Year, Lou Williams. The standout scorer spearheaded their reserve corps with 20 points per game and was supported by Montrezl Harrell, who scored 16.6 ppg of his own while finishing third to Williams that year in 6 Modi voting. Buddy Hield and Jonathan Kuminga have spearheaded Dub's bench offense. The Warriors have a similar dichotomy. Buddy Hield looks like the clear front-runner for this year's 6th Man of the Year award, though early, behind his 17.6 ppg on 49.6% shooting from the field and 46.7% clip from three-point range. Jonathan Kuminga is not far behind him with 14.7 ppg off the bench. After getting removed from the starting lineup after Golden State's 3rd game of the year, the Democratic Republic of the Congo native has scored 15 or more points in 7 of their last 8 games, including 3 with 20+. Moses Moody's 8.3 ppg has supplemented their 2 leading scorers. It remains to be seen how long the Warriors bench can keep up their torrid scoring. As is, they play a huge role in the offense, especially with Klay Thompson's departure for the Dallas Mavericks this offseason. Unless and until Curry, 23.9 ppg, and Wiggins, 14.7 ppg, pick things up, Golden State's ancillary troops will continue to have opportunities to pile on points. However, things could change if the Warriors pull off a major midseason trade, like for Milwaukee Bucks superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo. Either way, the pendulum swings, and their bench will be vital in them potentially capturing another championship this season or beyond.